Hello, welcome to 10 Minutes with James. I'm Pastor Buddy Pennington of Westville Assembly of God in Northern Holmes County, Florida. We're going to continue with Lesson 7, Part 2 of that lesson. We'll be in Chapter 3 of James, beginning with the 3rd verse, reading down through the 6th verse. Allow me to read that for you very quickly. We can make a large horse go wherever we want by means of a small bit in its mouth. And a small rudder makes a huge ship turn wherever the pilot chooses to go, even though the winds are strong. In the same way, the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on fire. And among all the parts of the body, the tongue is a flame of fire. It is a whole world of wickedness, corrupting your entire body. It can set your whole life on fire, for it is set on fire by hell itself. In part 1 of this lesson, we looked at the idea that James is presenting to them that not very many people should attempt to become teachers or masters of the Christian faith. Now, James tells us that teachers are going to be held responsible for everything that they say. And then he goes on to give some examples of how the tongue, or our speech, can be such a small thing, yet influence items that are much, much larger than they are. Now, he uses some examples and some analogies to do this. He uses a horse's bit. He uses a rudder, and he uses a spark. Now, a horse's bit weighs on the average about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds. The average horse weighs between 850 and 2,200 pounds, depending on the breed and the size of the horse. A ship's rudder encompasses a very small number of square feet of area in comparison to the square foot area of an entire ship. And a spark, say the size of a lightning bug, is able to set on fire, bring combustion to things like pine straw and leaves and other organic matter that is dried out, and create a blaze that is so powerful that it can consume an entire forest. Now, the people of James's day were quite familiar with these analogies that he uses. They understood that he was telling them that even though the tongue is a very small part of their body, it still can have a tremendous influence on their lives. You see, it's a small piece of the physical body. However, it is capable of controlling a life, even bringing complete destruction to that life. This is why he tells the reader that they need to understand how powerful their words are. Now, the tongue, our words, can be used to create what James calls grand speeches. But he immediately follows that up with saying that the tongue is a whole flame of fire. He goes on to say that it is full of wickedness. Now, although a teacher can use eloquent speeches to be able to instruct and direct his disciples, his students, he is also able to use his speech to do even more than that. He can bring evil. He can bring destruction. He can bring bad things into the life of the disciples who are listening to what he is talking about. The same speech that directs and instructs can destroy as well. Now, keep in mind James's audience for this letter. He is writing to the Jewish believers who have been scattered abroad out of Jerusalem when the persecution against the church began. He is writing to a group of people who is no longer a tightly knit society of people or sect of believers who are in their primary city of their religious heritage, which was Jerusalem. They were no longer in their city where they first met the Christian faith and became believers in Jesus Christ. He is talking to a group of people who has scattered abroad. They have been placed in various cities, and they are trying to live out their lives in their Christian faith, even though they may not have had a leader that was one of the early disciples or first members of the church. In this part of the letter, if you will allow me to repeat myself, he is giving them a warning about trying to become leaders, teachers, masters of the Christian faith. Now, he wants them to understand they're going to be held more accountable than other people are going to be held. They're going to be judged by whether or not their grand speeches, as he refers to them, are speeches that bring evil into someone's life or bring life into someone's life. Do they bring good or do they bring destruction? This part of the letter is not simply a warning about watching what we say. This part of the letter is a warning to those people who desire to become teachers, masters, leaders, if you will, of the Christian faith wherever they are scattered. Part 1 of Lesson 1 and this part of Lesson 3 both describe situations in which James is giving a warning. He gives them a warning about trying to become a leader because he wants them to understand every word they say can have a dramatic effect on the people that are listening to them. Let us pray that those people who become leaders, who become teachers and masters of the Christian faith, are willing to heed James's warning about the importance of what they say. It's my prayer that this study on James is a blessing to you. I pray that as you listen and as you study the Word along with me, that your faith in Jesus Christ is strengthened and that your ability to walk hand in hand with Christ increases, that you become more mature and more wise in your Christian faith. If you like these lessons, like them and share them on your own social media. I encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel where these lessons are going to be posted, as well as on Facebook. May God richly bless you. And it is our prayer that you would have a great holiday that's coming up. And as the old prayer says, may the Lord bless you and keep you and make his face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious unto you and give you peace. Amen. Have a blessed day.